At the far end of our planet, where you can see ice as far as the eye can see and the wind changes the shape of the land, penguins live in a world that is very hard for most living things to survive in. In these places the way things live is affected by really big extremes. The cold is extreme, the distances are extreme, and even time works differently for penguins. Penguins are birds. They are really different from other birds. A time ago they stopped flying and started swimming in the ocean. Their wings changed into flippers and their bodies became shaped for moving fast and using less energy in the water. When penguins are in the water, they are not clumsy or slow anymore. Penguins become good hunters, moving smoothly through the cold water with great accuracy. The sea gives us food. The sea is also very dangerous. Penguins have to watch out for animals that hunt them in the cold water of the sea. These animals are waiting for penguins to make a mistake. When penguins dive into the sea, they have to be careful to stay safe. Every single second that penguins spend underwater is very important for the penguins. On land things are really tough for penguins. The temperature gets cold and big storms can come out of nowhere. Penguins do not have to deal with all this on their own. They really need each other to survive. Penguins live in groups with thousands of penguins all together. These big groups of penguins make a lot of noise and movement on the ice, which is usually very quiet. When it gets really cold, penguins need to work. They stand close to each other and take turns being in the middle. This way each penguin gets to be warm for a bit. If they did not do this, the cold would be too much for them. For penguins, being together is not something they can choose. It is how they survive. Penguins really need each other during these times. Raising the generation of penguin chicks is really tough. The penguin parents have to go a long way across the ice and the open ocean. Sometimes they do not eat for days or even weeks. They do this so that their penguin chick has a chance to live. Penguin parents have a hard job making sure their penguin chick is safe and healthy. A little chick is like a symbol of hope when everything around it seems scary. The chick is safe from the wind and cold because its parents take care of it. The parents have to do everything right. If one of the parents is late coming back, it can be really bad for the chick. When you are in a place harsh as the frozen wilderness, you do not get another chance. The little chick and its parents have to be lucky. The frozen wilderness is a very tough place for a little chick and its parents. As the seasons slowly change, the colony transforms. The chicks in the colony grow stronger every day. They learn to withstand the weather. They also prepare for the ocean. The ocean will soon define the lives of the chicks. The moment the chicks enter the sea is a moment. It marks a turning point for the chicks. This is the beginning of independence for the chicks. The ocean is where the chicks will really be on their own. Penguins go back to the place to have babies every year, even though it is not safe. They do this because their parents and grandparents did it before them. Penguins really love the places where they live. They keep going to these places because it is what they are supposed to do and it helps them stay alive. Penguins do this every year, it is what they do. Today these old rhythms that penguins are used to are in trouble. The ice is moving, the seas are. The earth is getting warmer. All these things are hurting the balance that penguins need to survive. The future of penguins, which was once safe because they could adapt, is now not looking so good. Penguins are really going to struggle because of these changes. The Arctic Ocean is right at the top of the world. It meets fields of ice that seem to go on forever. The polar bear is the boss of this place. It is the hunter in the frozen north. This land is very quiet. Things are often very extreme. It is either very cold or very snowy. To survive here you need to be strong and patient. You also need to be suited to this kind of environment. The polar bear is very good at this. The polar bear is perfectly adapted to the North and the Arctic Ocean. The polar bear is really big. It eats meat. It is the animal on land that eats other animals. The polar bear has a lot of fur and a lot of fat to keep it warm. This helps the bear when it is very cold outside. The polar bear can be outside for a time when it is cold because its fur and fat keep it warm. Under the fur of the polar bear is black skin. The black skin helps the polar bear get warm from the sun in the Arctic. The sun, in the Arctic, is not very strong. The polar bear can still get some heat from it. The polar bear is really big. It moves around in a very nice way. The polar bear can go far across the ice that is floating on the water, and it knows where to go because it has a very good sense of smell. The bear's sense of smell is so good that it can find food that is very far away, even kilometers away. In the world where the polar bear lives, it is hard to find food, so the polar bear has to take advantage of every chance it gets to eat. The bear's life is all about the sea ice. This is where the seals come up to breathe, and this is where the polar bear waits for them. The polar bear will wait for hours or even days. Just standing there doing nothing is a part of what the polar bear does. When the polar bear finally sees a seal, the polar bear has to be fast and strong. The speed and power of the bear are what help the polar bear catch the seal. The Arctic is a crazy place. The changing seasons are really important for bears. This is because when it is winter, the ice gets bigger and polar bears can hunt for food in the Arctic Ocean. Polar bears can find a lot of food when the ice is big. When summer comes, the ice gets smaller and polar bears have to swim really far to find food, or they have to stay on land and wait for food, and there is not a lot of food on land for polar bears. Polar bears are really good at swimming in the water. They are strong. Can swim across big areas of open sea. When polar bears do this, it is hard for them. Every time polar bears swim, they use up a lot of energy. Sometimes polar bears cannot get back the energy they used up when they swim. For mothers, things are really tough. When females are pregnant, they go into snow dens, where they have their babies during the time of the year. These babies are born blind. Cannot do anything for themselves. They need their mother to take care of them all the time. The mothers do this inside the snow dens, which are not very strong. The polar bear mothers have a job taking care of the tiny polar bear cubs. The polar bear cubs are born blind and helpless, and the mothers are the only ones who can help the polar bear cubs. When spring comes back, the family comes out. The baby bears have to learn to follow their mothers fast. They have to get used to the cold and figure out how to stay alive in a world that's full of things that can hurt them. Only a few of the baby bears will grow up to be adults. Today, the biggest problem for bears is not another animal that wants to hurt them, but the fact that the weather is getting different. When there is ice in the sea, it gets harder for polar bears to survive. The future of bears is now very uncertain. Still, the polar bear endures. A symbol of the wild north. The Arctic wolf lives in the Arctic. This is a cold place. It is cold for most of the year. The Arctic wolf has a life. There is not food. There are no trees to hide in. The Arctic wolf has to be very careful. It has to work with others to survive. The Arctic wolf needs to be precise and careful all the time. If it makes a mistake, it will not make it. The Arctic wolf has to cooperate with Arctic wolves to live in this cold and harsh land. The Arctic wolf is very good at surviving in the Arctic. Arctic wolves are different from wolves that live in places. They live in a cold and isolated place. The Arctic wolves have white fur that keeps them warm in the freezing cold. This white fur also helps the wolves to hide in the snow. When Arctic wolves walk on the ice, they do it carefully. They have to be careful not to waste energy because the Arctic wolves never know when they will find food again. The Arctic wolves have to conserve energy to survive in this world. The pack is what life is about. These small groups of wolves stick together, travel really far. They move across distances searching for food in cold valleys and big open spaces. When they talk to each other, they do it in a way. They use their bodies. Look at each other to say things instead of making a lot of noise. This is important because when you are out in the open like that, being quiet can help you stay alive. The pack is always on the move. They have to be careful. The pack has to work to survive. Hunting is really hard to do. It costs a lot. The animals that the Arctic wolves hunt are very strong and they are good at taking care of themselves. They are also very hard to find. So the Arctic wolves have to be patient and think carefully about what they're doing. They cannot just run fast. Catch the animals. When the Arctic wolves finally find something to hunt, they all work together as a team. Raising young in the Arctic is really tough. The wolf pups are born when it is not so cold and icy. It is still very dangerous. The parents and the older wolves in the pack work together to keep the wolf pups safe and feed them. This way the wolf pups can grow up. The next generation of wolves can survive because the parents and the older wolves in the pack are helping them. The wolf pups need a lot of care and the parents and the older wolves in the pack give it to them. The pups they learn really fast. Play is like practice for the pups. It is practice for hunting, practice for coordination and practice for understanding how the pack works together. The pups learn about the structure of the pack. Every single lesson is important for the pups. In the Arctic, the pups have to be careful because nature does not forgive mistakes easily. The Arctic is a place and the pups have to learn fast to survive. The pups and the Arctic are a part of this. Seasonal changes really affect the wolves. The winter is very dark. It can stay that way for a long time. This is hard for the wolves. They have to be strong not just in their bodies but also in their minds. When summer comes, the sun is back. Only for a little while. The wolves have to make the most of this time because they have to get stronger before the winter comes back. The wolves have to take care of themselves during this time so they can survive when it gets cold again. The wolves need to be ready for the winter so they can stay healthy and strong like the wolves do every year. Today, Arctic wolves are still one of the kinds of animals that we do not know a lot about. The Arctic Ocean is really cold and icy. Arctic seals do great in this place. They are very good at living in the water and on the ice. Arctic seals are amazing because they can live in two worlds, the ice and the water, and they do it very well. They are one of the animals at living in the cold polar seas. Arctic seals are very special because they can balance their life between the ice and the water. Arctic seals have layers of fat that keep them warm in the cold. This fat and their smooth body shape help them move easily under the ice. When Arctic seals are in the water, they are very good at moving and they are always watching out for things. They can swim through paths in the ice and dive down very deep to find food, like fish and crabs. Every time Arctic seals dive down, they have to be careful and make sure they do not use much oxygen or energy because they need to be precise to stay alive. The ice is really important to them. Seals need the ice to survive. They make holes in the ice so they can breathe. The seals go back to these holes over and over. This is where they have to be patient. The seals wait under the ice for a time. They only come up to the surface for a breath of air. The seals are always on the lookout for animals that might be trying to hurt them from above or below the ice. The ice is a part of the seals' lives. Seals look like they are in a spot when they are on the ice. They just lie there not moving, against a white background. This is actually a way for them to stay safe. By not moving and blending in with the snow and ice, seals save their energy. Avoid being seen. In the Arctic, being still is not a thing, it is actually a good plan for seals. Seals use stillness to their advantage. Through extreme cold, shifting ice, and constant risk, Arctic seals endure by mastering both silence and motion, perfectly adapted to one of the most unforgiving habitats on Earth. Arctic seals have a connection to the ice when it comes to having babies. Every year the female Arctic seals give birth to their babies on chunks of ice that do not move. When the baby Arctic seals are born, they have to deal with a lot of problems away. The baby Arctic seals need to grow up fast. They need to get a thick layer of fat to keep warm and become strong before the ice starts to melt and break into pieces. Mothers take care of their babies during this time. They stay close. Feed them rich milk so the babies can grow fast. The mothers do not have a lot of time. The Arctic is getting warmer. The ice is getting thinner. This means the mothers have to be very careful. If the ice breaks up early, it can be very bad for the polar bear babies. The Arctic and the ice are very important for the mothers and their babies. Seals have to be careful all the time because predators are always a threat. Polar bears are walking around on the ice and orcas and other hunters are waiting under the water. Seals must stay alert. React fast when they sense danger. If a seal does not react quickly, it can be the end for the seal. Polar bears and orcas are always looking for seals to eat. Seals have to be ready to respond to predators like bears and orcas at any moment. Arctic seals have been around for thousands of years. They have always been in sync with the ice and ocean. The ice and ocean have an effect on Arctic seals. Things are changing now. The sea ice is getting smaller. This is changing where Arctic seals have their babies and find food. Arctic seals have to adjust to these changes. Still, they persist. Quiet, resilient, and finely tuned to their environment, Arctic seals remain a vital part of the polar ecosystem. In their struggle for survival, they reflect the delicate balance of life in the Arctic, a balance shaped by ice, time, and the relentless demands of the cold. In the cold water of the Arctic Ocean, big animals like whales move around under the surface. They follow the paths that they have been using for a very long time. These paths were made by the ice and the water moving around. Whales do not stay in the Arctic Ocean all year long like some other animals do. For many whales, the Arctic Ocean is a very important place to be if they want to survive. The Arctic Ocean is essential to the survival of whale species. The Arctic is really full of life during the summer. The water is full of stuff that helps tiny plants and animals called plankton grow really fast. This also helps fish and krill grow. The Arctic becomes a feeding place for whales. Humpback whales, fin whales, minke whales, and gray whales come to the Arctic from far away. They stay for a while. Eat a lot of food. The Arctic Ocean is usually very quiet. When the whales come, it becomes a busy place. The Arctic is home to the animals on Earth, the whales during the summer months. The whales, including humpback whales, fin whales, minke whales and gray whales are in the Arctic to eat and gain weight. The Arctic has some species that really love it there. Beluga whales and narwhals spend most of their lives in these waters. They are very good at dealing with the cold. Beluga whales and narwhals use sound to find their way under the ice. They talk to each other with clicks and calls that go through the water. These whales do not see ice as something that gets in their way. Instead, ice is a place for these whales. The whales can get to the air they need through openings and cracks in the ice. At the time, the thick ice above these whales protects them from really bad storms. Living under the ice is not easy for these whales. These whales need to be very careful and remember things. They also have to pay attention all the time. Whether passing through or remaining year-round, whales of the Arctic are united by a single purpose during their time here: to feed, to. When autumn gets closer, the Arctic starts to change a lot. The ice starts moving again, it gets darker and there is not as much food around anymore. For whales, this means it is time to leave. They start going on some long trips, going from the cold Arctic where they eat a lot of food to the warm tropical waters where they will find a mate and have babies. The migratory whales will travel a long way to get to these warm tropical waters where the migratory whales will mate and the migratory whales will give birth. These whale migrations are guided by the whale's instinct and the whale's memory, which is passed down through the generations of whales. Each whale migration route is very precise. Each timing is really critical for the whales. Arriving early or too late can mean the whales miss out on good opportunities or the whales have to deal with deadly conditions. For the whales, movement is the key to survival. For the whales, winter is a time for animals that live in the Arctic like belugas and narwhals. It gets really dark. The ice gets thicker. This makes it hard for them to find places to breathe. Belugas and narwhals have to remember where they can find openings in the ice. They go back to these spots because they know they can breathe there. Belugas and narwhals also stay together in groups and work together to move around. This helps them survive the winter. Today, these old patterns are facing a lot of uncertainty. The seas are getting warmer. The Arctic sea ice is always changing. This is where you can find a lot of walruses. They are really animals that live in the cold areas around the North Pole. The walrus is an animal that's very good at living in cold water and on ice. The walrus has to be able to deal with the cold and the ice to survive. The walrus spends most of its time in the ocean. It also needs to be able to climb up onto the ice and land. The walrus has a big body, a lot of fat and big ivory tusks that you cannot miss. The walrus looks like it is from a time ago. Every part of the walrus is useful. The fat on the walrus keeps it warm in cold water. The walrus also has hairs on its face that help it find food in the dark water. The walrus uses these hairs to feel for food on the ocean floor. In the dark Arctic Ocean, the walrus uses its sense of touch more than its sense of sight. The walrus is very good at finding food in the water because of its special hairs and fat. Walruses are really animals. They climb up onto ice and rocks. A lot of them will get together in one place. Sometimes you will see thousands of walruses resting together. When walruses get together like this, you can hear all sorts of noise. There are sounds, like bellows and grunts and loud roars that go across the ice. All these sounds help walruses become closer to each other and keep everything okay within the group of walruses. Despite their size, walruses are powerful swimmers. They dive repeatedly in search of clams and other bottom-dwelling creatures, returning again and again to feeding grounds that have sustained them for generations. For the walrus, the Arctic sea ice is not merely a resting place, it is the foundation of life itself. Baby walruses stay with their mothers for a long time. They learn where to go when it's time to move to a different place, where to find food and how to stay alive in the cold Arctic water. The whole group of walruses looks out for each other. Walruses are safer when they are together. The more walruses there are, the stronger they are. The walrus tusks are really important for the walrus. They help the walrus get out of the water and onto the ice when they need to. The walrus tusks are also used to protect the walrus from animals. The walrus uses the tusks to show that they are in charge of the group of walrus. The walrus has a lot of things going for it because of the tusks. The walrus is still in danger. Polar bears like to attack baby walrus. When the walrus is in the water, orcas are always a threat to the walrus. Today the biggest problem that walruses have is not animals that might hurt them but the Arctic changing really fast. The ice that walruses use to rest on is melting every year. This means that walruses do not have their usual places to rest. Walruses are forced to go on land. This is very bad for them. When a lot of walruses are on land together, it gets very crowded. Walruses get very stressed. The Arctic is a big place with a lot of open space. There are not trees and you can see for a long way. The reindeer live here. They move around a lot. They go to places at different times of the year. In North America people call them caribou. The reindeer are very good at living in the Arctic. They can handle the low temperatures and the snow. The reindeer are famous for being able to survive in this kind of weather. They are strong animals and they are perfectly happy in the cold Arctic. Reindeer are really good at living in this kind of environment. They have fur that traps warm air, which helps keep them from freezing in the cold temperatures. Their big hooves are like snowshoes so they can walk on snow and soft ground easily. Reindeer noses are special too, they warm up the air before it gets to the reindeer lungs. Movement is what the Arctic reindeer are about. The Arctic reindeer make some long trips on land. They travel hundreds of kilometers and sometimes even thousands of kilometers every year. The Arctic reindeer do this because they need to find food and stay alive. The Arctic reindeer herds follow the old paths that they have been using for a long time to get to the places where they can eat during different times of the year. These places have a lot of things for the Arctic reindeer to eat, like lichens and grasses and mosses. Winter is a tough time. It gets very dark. There is not a lot of food around. The snow gets hard. The wind gets very strong. This makes it hard to find food because it is all covered in ice. The reindeer are very good at dealing with this. They use their hooves to dig through the snow and find something to eat. When it is this hard to survive, the reindeer have to be very careful not to waste any energy. They have to think about every step they take. Every decision they make is very important. Winter and the reindeer are an example of this. The reindeer and winter are very tough on each other. When spring comes back and the days get longer in the Arctic, the herds start to move. The time for babies to be born is near. The mothers who are going to have babies lead the way to places that are safer for them. The timing has to be just right. The babies need to be born when there is food for them to eat and not many animals trying to hurt them. The mothers know that the babies need to be born when it's safer for them, so they move to these safer places. Spring is a deal for the herds and the babies, and the herds have to move to the right place at the right time. Newborn reindeer are really strong. They can stand up, run around in just a few hours. This is very important for them because they live in a place where they can get hurt easily. There are wolves and bears that follow the reindeer groups looking for a chance to attack them. They try to find the ones. For the reindeer to stay alive, they need to watch out for danger and keep moving all the time. The reindeer have to be careful because wolves and bears are always looking for them. The reindeer need to stay in groups and keep moving to stay safe. The Arctic reindeer has been a part of the lives of indigenous peoples for a very long time, thousands and thousands of years. They give us food and clothes. They are also a big part of who the indigenous peoples are. The Arctic reindeer migrations are still closely connected to the history of people who live in the far north. The Arctic reindeer is very important to these people. The Arctic is changing. It is getting warmer. This is affecting the plants that grow there. This change is also messing up the routes that animals take when they move to places. The ice is not stable like it used to be. This makes it hard for them to find food. Sometimes it rains on the snow. Then it freezes, making a hard layer on top. This layer is like a wall that the reindeer cannot get through, and the food they need is trapped underneath. All these changes are bad news for
Thank you.